This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment Blog, coming to you with another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations. This is 142, and I will preface this as the way that the holidays this year all fell, the American holiday, Christmas, Christmas Eve, New Year's, and New Year's Eve. It is currently New Year's Eve. Last week was obviously Christmas Eve, and Sunday was Christmas Day. I'm Jewish, but I spent it with my roommates, family, and they have a tradition of eating dinner early, so obviously I wasn't able to watch a movie before I went, and by the time we got back, they live far away, didn't have time to watch a movie. But they have a tradition that every year they watch Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon, the Chevy Chase movie that has Brian Doyle Murray and Randy Quaid, the lesser famous brothers of the brother duos that act, Murray and Dennis Quaid. Either way, I've now seen it 2 times in a 2-year span, third time probably overall, and it's an okay movie. It's not the word, but it's it's a classic. And if you're non-Jewish and that's your tradition to watch that Christmas movie, and others, that's what I watched. Then I came on Monday. I didn't work because it was a Christmas Day observed, so I was like, let me watch something short because I just want to get this day going and be productive. I watched this movie that was an 80-something minute movie, just under 90 minutes. And people are calling it dark comedy, horror. Basically, I don't know who wrote this, but it was, let's have a New Year's or it's like a Christmas dinner with all your friends where one is lusting over the other one who's married and they don't like his current girlfriend and she doesn't like her current husband. You throw in a stereotypical biracial lesbian couple. Keira Knightley's the main actress, and her husband is, rich and all successful and stuff, and there's obviously all these issues. There are children involved, and they're all like, well, it's the end of the world, supposedly, and England wants you to take a pill that kills you, and the boy is the star of the show. This kid is, really good in this movie, but the script was bad, confusing, a lot of boring scenes, even though it's a short movie. It was okay. And it was well, the world's coming to an end, everyone dies in a way. And it was you know what? This was not good. I just don't get it. It was horrible. Then I watched Last Looks with Sons of Anarchy, Charlie Hunnam, Miranda Baccarin, V, Stargate, Gotham, and Deadpool, and Mel Gibson. This movie also had Robin Givens, Dominic Monaghan, Clancy Brown, you name it. There was a lot of actors in here that I'm I've seen them before, I know them. And basically, it's a mystery noir movie. I don't know why the library put an action, but it's a drama. Basically, he's some sort of disgraced cop detective. The whole entire police department, maybe outside of maybe Clancy Brown's character, there's a few other guys in there that hate him. They don't want anything to do with him. He's out on the reserve living on his own. Marina Baccarin's a private investigator asking for his help. She goes missing. So he goes, well, I don't want my on and off girlfriend to go missing, so I'll go and do this job. And it's about Mel Gibson, who's this actor who plays a syndicated judge on TV, and he's British when he's not British. It was okay, let's put a bad British accent. And of course, the husband always does it, so they got to look into it, the husband doing it, and all this other stuff. And it's the movie studio hires him to go and look into it, Charlie, Hunnam, and the whole movie is all these twists and turns with black gangsters, Hispanic gangsters beating him up for his affiliation with the case, even though he said he wasn't a part of it, blah, 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 blah. You got dirty cops, good cops, whatever it is. You got shady people. So overall, it was not a great movie, and it lasted almost an hour and 50 minutes. So a lot of wasted scenes, him hooking up with the kindergarten, first grade teacher of Mel Gibson's daughter in the movie. It was I could see that coming from a mile away. I will say this, you got a lot of good actors in what they do, but it was just, not that great. Then I watched 2 Bruce Willis movies in general, back-to-back this week, and I watched first Gasoline Alley, where there's so many, plot holes with this movie. The writing wasn't that great. It didn't make a lot of sense, but basically, there's a guy the actor's name is Devon Sawa. He's an ex-con, tattoo artist, tattoo parlor, and they think he's a prime suspect in a murder of these girls just because he was seen with them. They have his lighter, all this other crap. And Bruce Willis is a longtime detective, and his partner is Luke Wilson. And, they're just yep, he's the suspect, and he doesn't want to go back to prison. And he didn't like how these girls were brutally murdered. He doesn't believe in that. blah, 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 blah. He does his own investigation and somehow gets caught into a dirty cop scheme with all these dirty cops and drug dealers and blah, blah, blah. And Bruce Willis again playing a bad guy in a way, because he did that in the last movie I watched with him last week that had, you know, Grillo and Matt Dillon in it and stuff. And I thought, despite how bad the script was, and it's not the best movie, that Luke Wilson did a very good job, and so does Devon Sawa. I thought overall it wasn't a bad movie. I liked it. It just, you know, it's just, it's one of those, I guess you go ahead and go, it's a straight to DVD, a streaming movie you watch when, you know, you have time and it's not that long. Then I watched the movie Fortress, which a little bit better writing than Gasoline Alley. And this is the second time I've seen a movie with Chad Michael Murray and Bruce Willis. I saw one months ago, and this one had Jesse Metcalf, where basically Jesse Metcalf is a successful, like, cyber crypto dude or whatever, and he needs help, so he goes visit his father at a retirement home. Little does he know, this is not a normal retirement home, and there's bad guys coming after him. And I'm like, cool. And Bruce Willis again, playing a retired CIA agent, so he's not currently in the field, makes sense with his health issue. The movie wasn't that long. It was just under an hour and 40 minutes. There was enough action scene. You know, there was a good actors in the movie that I've seen before, like the Serdeus Blaine, who is from the Jumanji remakes, and he was on The Big Leap, which I really liked him in. He was like the leader of one of the special ops team. There was like other actors that I'd seen before that I wasn't sure who they were, and it was pretty good. Chad Michael Murray, last movie with Bruce Willis, was a good guy. This time, made him a bad guy like in Riverdale. I just not believable that Jesse Metcalf's father's Bruce Willis. I don't see the resemblance, blah, blah, blah. It makes no sense. I thought it was a good movie, but there was a lot of things that made no sense that my roommate pointed out, being a veteran and all this other stuff. Like, that's not accurate. That's not this. You know, there's some plot holes and some written stuff, but that's what we're getting with the essentially streaming straight-to-DVD movie. There's a second one coming, so I have to really see the second one, not to spoil it. Then I saw the movie Jockey. For this, Clifton Collins Jr. did a really good job. Molly Parker was in it. And Moises Arias makes sense because he's a short actor. He's not the tallest actor, you know, from Hannah Montana and the Pete Davidson comedy movie. And again, movies being 90-something minutes is perfect. It basically gets to the point where this Arias comes around thinking that this famous jockey, this father, because his mother used to be around him, and he's good with horses, and he takes him under his wing. And this Molly Parker is like the trainer, and you realize the trainer's the most... Is the horse is the most important, the trainer and the owner. No one really cares about the jockey and all the injuries and how they age, and no one cares about them. And they show, like, really in-depth of how the life of a jockey is, which is really cool and interesting. That's what I really like. They got really down into it, and it wasn't bad acting. It was interesting enough to keep your attention, and it can go with Rotten Tomatoes. That was pretty good. The last movie I watched is this movie called Drive My Car. It's a Japanese movie. I don't get the library when they get these Criterion collection where it's like 2 discs, and I'm like, is this special feature? Is it a special version? They even got a booklet in here, like, why? And the stupid library doesn't even have the description of the movie. I had to look it up. The description is some aging actor, director has an issue in a car accident. He can't see that well anymore while driving, so someone drives him around. And throughout this movie, the first like 25, 30 minutes of the movie, I've seen him hook up with this woman, one of the women in the movie, like 3 or 4 times. There's a lot of sex scenes in the first 20, 30 minutes. And it's like, is this a girlfriend? Does he have children? Is he ex-wife? All this other stuff. And throughout the movie, it's just like showing auditions to play, his life. Then they're trying to see that maybe the driver and him get close to each other and they hook up and they're in a relationship. But I'm going to say this. 10 Commandments, Chariots of Fire, all the Avengers movies, all the Marvel movies. Those movies that are 2.5 hours or 2 hours, that's fine. They're quality films. Biopics that are 2 hours because they're getting to the actual story about the person. Some of these science fiction movies are also good. I'm never going to understand why a movie has to be more than 2 hours nowadays. Children and other people do not have the attention span anymore to watch these movies, let alone adults, because they've been so, you know, brainwashed in a way that once, you know, we all got smartphones and all this other stuff, we can't do it. So this movie is 3 hours long. It's like 255, 256, almost 3 hours. What to watch that type of movie? I watched it, and you're going to say, oh, I don't like foreign films. I don't get it. I watched plenty of foreign films, and some have been good and some have been bad. I've watched plenty of 2-hour, 2.5 hour movies. Some have been good and some have been bad. This movie was bland and dry and boring. I don't care about some aging actor or whatever it is, sleeping with tons of women, being upset he can no longer drive, and all this other shit. It was just like, sorry I'm swearing, it's like, I don't understand what in the world this movie maker thought, oh yeah, this is a good idea to make a 3-hour movie. No, it was not. It's not the worst movie I watched, because I told you, this Silent Night and this Last Looks were horribly written movies, and it's not a horror film, it's just a bad drama where people are dying because of the end of the world. Last Looks is not an action movie, it's just a mystery movie, and it's not that great. And obviously, these straight-to-DVD movies, Gasoline Alley and Fortress, are going to have plot holes and some bad writing and some character development that makes no sense. But overall, they're watchable movies because they're action films. The best movie I watched was Jockey because it was straight to the point, in-depth way of explaining the world of jockeys, the acting by Clifton Collins Jr., Molly Parker, and Moise Arias. It was good. So that's the best movie I watched. Unless you have, like, all day, like on a Saturday like I do sometimes, do not watch Drive My Car. Thanks again for listening to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations, number 142. For On the Radar Table Blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.